Hello! So here's an unboxing. This is for the Geometric Future Model 5 case. It's quite an interesting design of ATX case, as we'll see. This is the mid-tower glass version, as you can see on there. That's the dimensions. Obviously you can Google it. I'll put a link in the description anyway. And let's get it open and have a look. So we've got some nice bit of tape on here, which I'm just going to cut through like this. Might need to sharpen my leather a little bit. And get this end done as well. So I'm just sliding it along there, just to open it. As you can see there, it's Model 5, green, black-green version. So I'm just going to run the knife across the top. And that's it open. So the first thing is there's a nice little plastic wallet of bits, which we'll look at in a minute. I need to get these flaps out like that, and then fold this over. Now I might be able to get this off without putting it on the floor, but we will see. If I can't, I'll obviously have to move it. Perfect. So I'll just delicately spin and put the box out of the way. Right, that's the bottom. That's the back. So what I'll do is I'll flip it like this, lift that off, drop that down there, and then see where the bag comes off. I think I've done it the wrong end, haven't I? And I'll get this end off as well. So I'll lift it up at the bottom and just tease it off. There we go, that's that. Right, so we're looking good. I've got to try and get the bag off now. It's much easier if the top and the bottom are in the polystyrene rather than the front and the back. There's a little warning sticker on there which we'll look at. Right, so it's quite meshy. I can see right through it. I'm trying to lift it up to get that bag free, which I've managed to do. So that's that. Chuck that over there. I think what I'll do is, because it's got a little bit of weight to it, I'll get the Lazy Susan out and we'll see. We'll put it on that. This is just one, I got this, it's like a patio thing, but it's very, very handy for assembling PCs on, because you just put it on. I'll just check that's in view. Yeah, that's all right, isn't it? I think the camera's got it. Yeah. So that's the case, and it's already pretty striking. This is a mesh side panel here, and then you've got the front bit here, and you can see on the main camera that it's like an L shape there. So this glass is not a, you know, it's an unusual shaped panel. There's a sticker on the top which is saying warning, and then it's I'll just tilt that over. Yeah, it's saying pull it back and then lift it off. So well, I suppose we better take the panels off so we can get a better look. So if I pull that back, now I lift that up, don't I? What do? It's saying pull it up, right, and then pull it back, and it comes off. So it's saying don't lift it like that. It's saying lift it like that and then pull it forward, because there are actually clips on there, which hopefully you can see. So it's got a little, that warning sticker there is quite helpful. So I'm just going to pop that down there out the way, making sure I don't step on it because it will bend. And that's the top panel off. So how do I get the side panels off? Well, there's a little space in there. Do I just put my hand in there and just pick that up? Oh. Yeah. And then that lifts off, and we've got plastic film on both sides of the glass panel. So when you're building it, you can be as fingery as you like, it doesn't matter. So that, I quite like that. From an assembly point of view, that's quite nice. So that's the main view inside the case there. Now the front panel, How do we get that off? Well, it's got the same, these are sort of like Lian Li clips. I can see in there that they give a few spare ones, like Lian Li do, so that's kind of handy. So I'm just going to push that forwards and see what happens. I think you just pull it forwards, don't you? Yeah. So it comes out of these little plastic things, and then it should just lift out, shouldn't it? Doesn't it just lift out? Why is it not coming out? Oh, because it's got little grumpy things as well. So you have to pop it, and then yeah, you'll get the idea. As long as you remember 2-finger rule and don't apply too much force, you won't break anything. Now there is a big flat panel there. Got 1, 2, 3 fans there, a 4th fan there. There's a lot of wire in there, so what we'll do is we'll get the back panel off. I'm guessing it comes off in the same way as the other one, so it just pops and then it just lifts out, so that's all good. So far I haven't reached for a screwdriver. It's completely toolless, so we're liking that. That is the right angled power connector because the power supply fits in there. So if you look at the way the power supply fits in, you've got this bracket here. That bracket comes out. I think, do I just unscrew that? Can I unscrew that? I can't, so I'm reaching for the screwdriver now. So I'll reach for the screwdriver and I'll just undo that and we'll see what happens. So if I undo that and then put that down there, does that come out? Yeah, it does. So that's the power supply bracket. So your power supply goes like that, you screw it in, and then it slides back in and then goes across, and then you put that in to screw it in there. So that just I'll just screw that back in. So this means that certain power supplies are not going to fit. So here's one that won't fit. This is an RM850X, but it's the shift. So normally you get the connectors at the opposite end to where the mains goes in, and this has it on the side, which because the PSU is mounted vertically isn't going to fit. So that's an example of something that won't fit. So check before you buy stuff. You've got to have the connectors at the opposite end to where the mains power comes in, which is like 99.9% of all power supplies. There's also a certain height as well. I think I should measure that. I'll get a thing, because you might be interested to see, because not only have you got the sort of dimensions of the power supply to consider, you've also got to consider the fact that one end's going to have cables plugged into it. So let's just see how much. So that is 21 centimeters. Right, so it's 21 centimeters from the very bottom to where the power supply screws in. So if you allow for the fact that there's a front panel connector there, then that drops it down to 18 centimeters, which is pleasingly precise. That's a because it's not like it's 17.8, it's actually spot on 18, so I'm quite liking that. So if you allow for the fact that the connectors have got a bit of oomph to it, then I suppose 17 centimeters, 16 centimeters probably going to be your longest one, because you've got to get all the cables in the bottom there. So it's not going to be as easy to get, you know, all power supplies aren't guaranteed to fit, is what I'm saying. You just got to be a little bit careful. Here's a big bundle of that's cable tied, so I'll get me snippers. And we'll just see what that is. Like this. So that's that off. So that's a bundle of fan stuff. So we've got, each fan has got a, well, that's the, they're sort of daisy chained up. There's a lot more cable than you need, I think, but they've obviously put it in for a reason. So these ones at the bottom are all daisy chained up already. So you've got this coming out there, which is your ARGB for the bottom fans, and then this one here, which is the ARGB and fan connector for the back fan. So these three fans here, rather cleverly, and three fans at the bottom. So these here are all on the same. In fact, it even includes that one. Those 4 fans there are all on the same connector. So that's quite nice. They are using some quite big clips, but that doesn't matter because it's still quite nice that they've managed to wire them in so they're all on one. I'm just going to snip that. And get the thing in like that. So there's your USB 3. There's your USB C, you know, 3.1. I think it's 3.1. And then you've got your front panel connectors, standard pins. And then that is the front panel audio as well. So you've got all the standard connectors. I'm going to poke that back through out the way. So we'll look at the manual, see what's in the box. So there's 2 of these little clips here. Leanne Lee give you a whole load of them because I'm obviously pretty confident you're going to snap them, and I think they are a bit brittle, but they've given you 2 with this. So you've got the clips there. So 2 might have been a bit stingy, but maybe they'll last longer than the Leanne Lee ones do. So here's the actual user guide. Is it multilingual? It's multilingual in that it's looks like Chinese and English, but it is a full manual. So you've got what parts you get there, and then there should be a little discussion about how things fit in. Now you can download this off the internet. There's a thing. Oh, you get the motherboard riser screwdriver adapter, which is quite nice. That's not, doesn't say what that is because I don't speak Chinese. I'm guessing that is going to be the, let's find out where it is. There's this anti-sag bracket as well, which is quite nice. So that's it there. If I take the camera off its mount, I'll show it to you. So that's the anti-sag bracket there. So that's kind of nice. And we'll get that clip back on. And then what have we got for that bit there? Does it identify what it is? That can be reversed. So this back panel here can be flipped round to make a reverse mount, which is kind of funky. So for a vertical mount, you've still got to supply yourself with a cable. They don't supply the cable, but that's pretty funky. So what's that plate? Where's that plate? Does it say what that plate's for? Or is it just, does it just support the... Oh, I don't know. That isn't clear actually. Where's the mesh one? See, it's shown there. It's got the plate there, look. It's there. Oh, this is... right, okay. Multifunction support bracket installation. Oh, I see. So, function 1, support the PSU chamber to make it more stable. So I guess when you're delivering it or when you're posting it, you put the bracket there. Don't know how well you can see that in its original position, so it supports that box area. Second one is install it on the side of the PSU chamber to shield the cable. So you can put it there like that, so it hides the cables for that bracket. Right, okay. And you could also use it to put a fan on. So that picture there. So either it goes there to support the power supply, there to hide the cables, or there for a fan. So that's kind of funky. That bottom one, it just says, I don't know, it doesn't really say much for that. I just think it just says take it off. Multifunction support bracket installation. Support, make chassis more stable, install it on the side. Could be installed extra ventilation, but this here, it just says take that off. Yeah, okay. Is it finger tight, or have I got to get a screwdriver in there? That's going to be interesting because my screwdriver is obviously a bit taller than that, isn't it? So I'm going to have to think of a way to do that. All I've got to do is just crack it, haven't I? So I'll get me... So they don't mention that, do they, when they're... when other people are unboxing it. So I'll get the right angle screwdrivers. I need a PH2. Which one's the PH2? I think that's the PH2 there. So if I use that, and take these bits off, I use that just to crack like that. And like that. So I've just used that to just crack it. And that will now come out. Are they captive? Oh, that's quite cool. Look, they're captive. So there's 2 screws right under there. I had to use that to get at them. But you could obviously, you know, anyway. There's also a screw under there as well, isn't there? So I'm going to get that one too. I've just got to... So these right angle screws are quite useful, and there's one down there I need to get at as well. I don't know how well you can see it. Well, obviously if you buy the case you'll get it close up, but this isn't covered in other videos. That's why I'm covering it in this one. That's loose. That might be unscrewable now. Not quite. Bit fiddly, if I'm being honest. Bit fiddly. Right, that's not captive, that one. So that one won't be either, so I'll have to undo that. Might be able to get in there with a bendy screwdriver. But that's got that. Now, is that coming out then? Yeah, that's it out. So that's that plate there. And they say you can put it, you can mount it there or something. I don't know how it goes on. But they say you can fit it, oh, there's actually a screw in there. So maybe they're saying use that. So you sort of bolt it on like that. I guess. I'll check the picture again. Yeah. So what the picture's saying is that you can get it and mount it sort of in there. So it's like that. If you want to, or not. I'm going to say not. So those two go together like that. Right, okay, what else we got? No other video talks about that, so I hope you're finding this useful. Big bag of bits. They've got fan screws, which is interesting. I don't know why they include fan screws, because if you've got an all-in-one with a radiator, then that's going to include screws, isn't it? So I don't understand why they put those in, unless they're particularly anxious to get the threads to match. But you've got, there are actually some of the bigger fan screws as well, like that, just in case you lose one of the ones that are included with it. And then you get motherboard risers, you get your standard 2.5 inch small threaded, and you get that nifty little tool to move the risers around with. So that's pretty, yeah, quite nice. The manual is actually fairly clear. If you're building these sort of things professionally, then you're probably on a production line. That probably won't be much fun. But if you're doing it yourself, you can take your time over it, can't you? Or if you're doing it because you're an enthusiast, again, you can take your time over it. So hopefully this video will sort of show you a few bits of the case that other videos haven't bothered with. I don't see why they should bother with those, because anyone who's any good at this is going to have their own cable ties anyway, aren't they? But as it is quite nice, isn't it? You get, basically you get everything you need, okay, apart from a screwdriver and other bits and bobs, everything you need to do it, which makes it quite a thoughtful package. So yeah, I'm going to use this, I'm going to build a machine using this case, and what we'll do is we'll see how that turns out. So if you're just here for the unboxing, that's it. I think I need to mention what's underneath here. There is quite a sizable plastic mesh. It's not magnetic, it's plastic mesh that slides in and out at the bottom. So that's kind of nice. It doesn't matter which way around it goes, because it's basically symmetrical, so you can put it back in. You haven't got to worry about it going back in the wrong way, because it only fits in one way. Does it come out the other side? It can come out the other side as well. So yeah, that's quite kind of thoughtful. So however you've got the computer positioned, you can access the mesh at the bottom without having to wriggle things around. This plate, I'm still wondering what this plate is for. Do you use that at the bottom? Yeah, it's fine. It's the first time I've seen the case, so I'm getting ideas. So it just says multifunction support bracket on that bit there. That bit goes in and out. I don't know what you're going to support with that. Doesn't say anything on there, does it? I think you can just take it off and it looks nicer. I think that's the bottom line. You take this plate off and it looks nicer. But with it on, I don't know what you're going to... I mean, is it because it just makes it more geometric? No, I don't know. I don't really know the purpose of that. If you do know the purpose of that, then stick it in the comments. I should probably have found out before I made the video, because I knew what the case was. But that's just how I do things. I get ideas and I just run with them. That's how you fit the hard drives in, so you can get a couple of hard drives in. That's how you do that. That's how you do that. Doesn't mention anything about that plate, so that plate's a bit of a mystery at the moment. Interesting, because they've got it there, but it's in Chinese, so I don't know what that says. If you do know what that says, then tell me. Oh, hang on. It says I'm an idiot. Storage rock, including 2 loose-proof screws. They mean captive. Storage. I mean rack. Storage rack. Storage rack. What are you going to store on that? Storage rack. Anyway, that's the unboxing bit. Liking and subscribing is appreciated. What I'm doing now is that when I produce a new video, unless it's of particular importance, I'm not announcing it to subscribers, because most of my viewers watch the video because they come to watch something specific and then don't necessarily want to get nagged by something that they're not interested in. So if you subscribe, you won't get... I'm not going to bombard your timeline with videos. I'll do the occasional one if I think it's pertinent. I'll advertise it to subscribers, but most of the time you won't get informed. That doesn't mean you can't just check back and watch the channel. You can obviously do that. It's just because of the content I make, my videos are quite specific. So if you've come to watch this video just for this case, you might not be interested in the next video about a case. So that's what I'm doing now. So if you do have any comments, stick them in the comments. I reply to all of them. If they're rude, sometimes I'll leave them. Sometimes I'll just delete them. But anyway, liking and subscribing is appreciated. And thanks for watching this bit. Right, so we're back and the PC is built. I've left the front panel on for purposes of this because it looks kind of cool. It just pops in with those little plastic poppers there. So that is... It does look really nice, but what really takes the biscuit for this, really, I think, are the fans. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans. They've got quite a nice ARGB ring around the edge, and they're sort of got this sort of texture, like a knobbly sort of texture, which is also quite pleasing to look at, and it catches the light as you move around. So the fans are really quiet, and they're quiet too, because you can't really hear it, can you? In fact, you can probably hear my PC behind more than you can hear this one. So the fans are really nice. They're ARGB, they daisy chain up, they fit onto one of the headers or multiple headers on the motherboard. OpenRGB comes along and detects them. Everything's good. Couldn't fault that. But this is where it gets really good. This is the best bit. That one, that one, that one, and that one are reverse blade. Yes! They're reverse blade. So you see the front of the fan, which is what fans are meant to be, that's how they're meant to be looked at, because that's the nice bit. The back with the bracket on and the little sticker saying the voltage, that's not the bit you're meant to see. So you see the front of it, but these are pulling air in. Those 4 there are pulling air in. That one is pulling air out, and of course the ones from the cooler are pulling air out. So I've lit a stinky joss stick And I'm just going to hold it there, and what you can see, hopefully, is it's pulling the smoke into the case, sort of proving that they're reverse blade. How brilliant is that? Absolutely brilliant. So I'm just going to spin it round. It's going to be awkward one-handed because I'm carrying the camera as well, but I'm just going to spin it round, and we'll do it on this side here, so hopefully you can see the smoke and you can see how it's been pulled in. Can you see it? Yeah, I can see it. Can you see it being pulled in? Maybe go down a little bit more. And then we'll, so you can see there, see the smoke being pulled in? So it's been pulled in there, and it's been pulled in there. So those are reverse blade fans. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, fantastic. So that's the icing. That's not the icing on the cake. That's the actual cake itself. It's brilliant that they've included reverse blade fans. Absolutely magnificent. So anyway, quick look at the top, and you can see this is a 360mm radiator, three 120 fans. There's a cable that runs from the back and goes to the power supply, because the power supply is in this weird compartment. There was a little tray as well, which was sort of stuck on there, and then there was also a support bracket there, which I've taken off. The tray, I think there is a sort of a trend where you put things in your case, like little bottles and things, so that little tray that sits there is quite a nice place to put something. So yeah. I've taken it off because I think it looks cleaner without it. If I turn it round, I'm going to be quite careful because the HDMI cable's in, so it's spinning, but I don't want to put any stress on the cable. As I turn it round, we'll see the power supply. So this power supply, for your reference I suppose, is an NZXDC 1000 gold. So it's quite a nice little power supply, 1000 watts. The actual size of it is important. So if I measure the size, you can see there it's 16 centimeters to where the mounting plate goes, because you screw the power supply into the plate, the power supply goes in and then along, and then it's locked in using that screw, right? So if your power supply is longer than 16 centimeters, I think you might have problems getting it to fit. If you've got one of those switch power supplies, the Corsair ones, then it won't fit because they have the connectors on the edge. So don't buy one of those. But the standard power supply can't be longer than 16 centimeters, right? I'm emphasizing this because it's important. So once you've got the connectors plugged in, with a 16 centimeter power supply, you've got enough room to get those cables in that little gap there and then feed them through. Now there's one gap there, and if I spin it round again and we go in here, there's another gap there right in front of you now where the cables can also fit through. But when you put the power supply in, you can't just, in a conventional case, you just shove it in the bottom and then the cables just hang about, don't they? And then you don't really have to think about it. In this case, you need to think about what the cables are, you know, which ones you're going to connect, where they're going to go, and then maybe feed them through before you put the power supply in, right? So you need to think about where the cables are going to go before you get this mounted power supply mounted in its bracket, yeah? Because you haven't got a lot of room down there. And once that power supply is in, an obvious one to point out, just to reinforce what I'm saying, is once that power supply is in, you can't get an ATX connector through that gap. So you have to feed the cables through, and then, yeah, you've got to think about it. But once it's done, it's done. And the beauty of this is it pulls air in from the side, so it's getting cool air, and it just blows it out the top. So that's kind of, you know, for cooling, that's great, isn't it? So there's enough room here to run the cables. There are mounting brackets here for drives. They're becoming more of an afterthought now because of M.2s, but there are quite a few places where you can put drives. I think obviously the cables might get in the way of that, but they're removable plates, and there's another plate there that's removable, so there is a lot of space to put in drives and hide them around the back. There's no space to put them around this side of the case at all. But obviously M.2s are making that, you know, it's becoming less important now because of M.2s. Yeah, so that's on the whole, this is great. I mean, look at it; it's absolutely stunning. I'm going to include a few more shots of it with, you know, with all the panels on and things like that. But in the meantime, I hope you like this little bit, and you know, click the subscribe button while you're watching it. So I forgot to mention CPU bracket there. Look, can you see it in there? I'll get the torch on it. So there it is there. That's working absolutely beautifully, and you've got various screw holes you can fit it in to accommodate whichever graphics card you've got, and it works really well. So here's some shots of it without, with, you know, with the side panels on. Apologies for the light outside; it's a bit reflective, but I'll just move it round and get a better view. So it's actually quite nice. There's a little geometric future flash on there, which is a nice little detail. That's the top of it. It's mesh. Around the other side, that's also mesh as well, as you can see. There's a flash running down there along the length of it, which is quite nice. So that air gets sucked in there, air goes into the power supply there. So that's for the fan, that's for the power supply. And of course, air gets sucked in along the bottom edge, pulled in, and then blown out the back and out the top. It does look rather nice. Now, what's even better about this is that when you come to do maintenance, these top panels just pop off. They're tool free. So that is, on the whole, I'm quite pleased. If we just look at symmetry, because this is the kind of stuff I notice. That is not quite, it's almost, but not quite the same, isn't it? So maybe just moving it slightly. Anyway, I'll shut up now. So that's the overall view of it. I think it'll be nicer when it's dark because of the outside light reflecting off it. But yeah, liking and subscribing is appreciated. So if you like this video, give it a sub. And thanks for watching.